All right, welcome to episode 12. I think we're in the home stretch here. So I think I found the problem. But before I go into that, you'll notice that I've taken the coils out right here. That's what usually goes in that spot. And I did that because I want to clean this up a little bit. These coils, I did test them before. They're in really good shape. But I'm just going to clean this mess up under here a little bit before I put it back. And that's an easy thing to do. So I'm not going to disturb them. I've tested them; they're all good. I'm just going to go ahead and clean up some of these wires and things here and put it back in place. And I also took the opportunity to clean the cans while I had it out. So that's a good thing. But we found the problem. At least I believe we found the problem. So I told you I've been going through this through the schematic here and marking everything in orange and testing it, and everything came up good until I got to here. This is our output transformer right here. So what I was doing is I ohmed out, there's two leads coming out of this. There's a pair here that go to the 47s, and you can see that here on the schematic, right? It goes right here and right here, okay? And then there's a pair that comes out on this side and goes to this 1 microfarad cap. Well, when I tested the connectivity between this 0.1 cap and the other end is here, nothing. It was open. So that prompted me to take a look at the wire coming out of the output transformer, which is right here. And I found that it was a bad connection. The wire was broken. So I replaced the wire, put some heat shrink on it, have it here and here, and now I get 2 something K. So what I think happened here is the output transformer was open, and that's why I was getting no audio at all. I mean, I would expect to hear some kind of noise, right? Some kind of hiss and buzz and hum or something, but nothing. That would explain why I had no audio at all. But it would also explain why my B plus has been going crazy, right? Because this transformer is part of the actual circuit, and if I recall, the plate of the 27, I think is, let's see, plate of the 27, which is an output tube, is 265 volts, and it's this transformer is part of the circuitry to knock that down, I believe. I'm going to just test it, of course, but I think that's what's wrong with the radio. So I know once I put this back together, I'm going to get some noise out of this thing finally. That's good. So while I'm here, I'm just kind of looking at all these wires, making sure everything is good. I did find a wire that was missing right over, where is it? Right here. Okay, so we fixed that up, and I did find another broken wire which I reattached, and that was, where was it? Right here. Okay, so I did have some wiring issues, but I think we're in good shape now. I took out the, I'll flip this down a little bit so you can see. I also took out the capacitors. I took everything out, just so I have a little bit of room in here to inspect things, all right? So the next step for me is going to be to put the coils back in. We're going to do that. We're going to reconnect everything where it needs to be. And then we're going to do a test and see if we get any noise out of this thing. I think we're going to find that we do. So I'm going to stop the video here, go and do what I got to do, and I'll come back and show you. Be back. Okay, before I reinstall these coils, just wanted to show you that I've cleaned up all the wires. I've got everything ready to go. Just have to connect it in the right place. It's a lot neater. I've cleaned up a lot of the gunk that was on here, and made sure everything was tightened down correctly, and everything ohms out perfectly, so we're good. All right, so we're going to install it back on the radio. Okay, next day here, we've got everything rewired, everything where it needs to be. We've got all of our connections here, all of our cans are reconnected, all the wires that I found broken have been fixed, everything is ready to go. This is the wire right here that was broken that goes to the output transformer, and I've tested it again, the connectivity, it's all good. So we're going to put some tubes in this thing and we're going to fire it up. So let me go put the tubes in and we'll be back. Okay. I swear to God, I haven't tried this yet. I'm trying it with you guys first. So anything can happen. Alright, power switch is on. Variac is on. We're going to go up slowly and watch our B+. And it helps when you put a fuse in it. Be right back. Okay, we're back. I did replace the fuse holder, that's why there was no fuse in it. Alright, let's go. We're on 0. We're going to go up very slowly. Let's see what happens. I see the pilot light glowing a little bit. We're up at 40 volts. Starting to see some of the filaments. Let's go up to 50. We should see our B plus start to kick in any minute. Here it comes. We're up to 65 volts. I don't see any smoke. Let's go up to 75 volts. There we go. We're up to 90. We're up to 100. I still have this issue with the volume control. Right now, hey everybody, we're back. So as you know, we had a massive fail on our attempt. So now we're going to troubleshoot again. So I want to show you what my plan of attack is, and I want to show you what I'm going to do to make it easier. So to start with, here's the schematic, right? You'll see it's all there. And what I've done is I've simplified the schematic. I've taken away all the filament lines, removed them with a paint program. So I've made the schematic much easier to follow now. It's just not as busy. It doesn't have as many lines, and it'll be easier for me to trace it. After a while, you start looking at this thing, you get cockeyed. But there's one thing here I wanted to show you that our good friend Robert Gibbons found, which I completely missed. I want to tell you a little bit about this. So we're zoomed in. So here's our volume control. And if you recall, this is a 5K, 2-watt taper pot. It's a log. And take a look at that symbol really quick. You'll see here, here's the pot, there's the center. Look right here. There's a little dot right there, and there's something else there. What's that? Well, it turns out, from what I can tell from my research, that this radio had a different volume pot originally. And that volume pot had a dropping resistor attached to it. And going back to a model 59, the value of that resistor right there is about 200 ohms. So what I did is I put a 200 ohm resistor right here, coming off of the leg of the volume pot, right before this, zoom back a little bit, right before this 15K, and my voltages are perfect. Everything is where it needs to be. So, if you ever see a symbol like that, you'll know what it means. It means there's something else there. Right? There's a dot, and then there's a little resistor there, but there's no indication of what it is on the parts list. I'm going to show you a picture of how I determined that it was a dropping resistor. And it's a little bit subjective, but I'll show it to you and you tell me what you think. So I'll be right back. Okay, here's a picture on the internet of a Model 124, just like I'm working on. And I want you to look at this volume pot right there. Let's see how close we can get in. You see that little piece right there? Guess. I told you I'm guessing, right? See that little piece right there? I'm wondering if that's a dropping resistor. That's what it looks like to me. I'm not sure what that is. But either way, I'm going to call it a dropping resistor. And we're just going to go with it. So I'm not really sure what that piece is. But Nevertheless, I did put that 200 ohm resistor in there, and it definitely puts our voltages where it needs to be. So let's start the troubleshooting process, and I'll tell you how I'm going to go through that. Okay, so I do have some noise coming out of the speaker now that I fixed the output transformer. I do hear a very slight hum, so I know the speaker works. So we're going to work ourselves backwards here. I think Don, I'm a Junk Collector, suggested this early on in the series when I was having a problem, to work backwards. So here's what we're going to do. Here's our 47 tubes. These are our output tubes. Now we know once it comes off of this stage and gets here, it's audio. So I have my audio generator, and I'm going to put the audio generator on the screen. I'm sorry, the control grid, and I'm going to see what I get. See if I get something coming through the speaker. If that works, then I know from here on is good. Okay? Then what I'm going to do is shut off the audio generator. I'm going to move to the signal generator, and I'm going to start on the plate, see if I get something out the speaker, and then through the screen grid, and see if I get something out the speaker. If that section works, from here is good, and so on and so forth. And we're going to work our way all the way back and see when I stop hearing it, and then I'll know which section to focus on. Okay? I'm going to put my money on this area right here. I just have a feeling. So that's the plan. So let me get that all set up, and we'll show you what it looks like. Okay, we have our radio on. There's our B+. Here's our signal coming from the audio generator. We're going to go to the cathode. Let me make sure I'm saying this right so I don't get it wrong. No. We're going to go to the screen grid of the 47 output tube. Let's see if we hear anything. Here we go. There we go. That's one tube. That's the second. So we have audio. Great. Alright, so now we're going to stop this and we're going to move to the signal generator. So we know that our audio section is working, right? We've got audio coming out the speaker. So we know that the output transformer works, and we know that we can eliminate almost this entire section right here. Okay? Let me shut the camera, we'll get the signal generator going, and we'll continue. Okay, we have our signal generator on now. What we're going to do is we're going to go back to the output tubes, and we're going to go to the plate this time. Alright, so that's the signal before it goes to the output tube. Let's see what we get. There we go, we got a plate. Plate. Alright, so we know that the signal is getting to the plate of the audio tube. Okay, that's good. Now, if we follow the line, the next tube that we have to check is the 27 tube. There's two of them. There's one right here, and then there's one below. So we're going to move to this first one. And again, we're going to check the screen first. And then we're going to check the plate and see what we get. And my flashlight's not working. Be right back. Okay, here we are. So again, we're going to go to the screen of the first 27 tube. Let's see what happens. That's the plate of the 27. Okay? But you hear there's a little bit of hum there, so that's something we need to think about. Now theoretically, if I go to the screen, I should hear something. Nothing. Interesting. So we now know that the screen part of the first 27 works, but not the grid. Let's go to the 35 tube and see what we get there. Just want to check something here. Okay, let's go to the plate. Nothing. What tube was that? Let's see. Hold on. I'm losing track of what tubes I got here. This thing is upside down. Sorry about that. Okay. That was the 24A tube, which is on the schematic right here. And it looks like I got audio off of the cathode of the 24A tube. That was pin 4. Let's try that again. There we go. Now, there's another 27 tube, which is right down here. Let's see what we get there. Let's go with pin 2. Nothing. Nothing. And nothing. So I'm getting nothing out of those 27 tubes. Let's check our first 35 tube. Nothing. Nothing on the screen, and nothing there. So let's recap here. We're good up until the plate of the 27, and then there's nothing before that. Let's just verify that. So we come off of the 47 tube, and we go to the first 27. The plate, screen, nothing. Let's check the cathode. I have a slight signal on the cathode. That's good. Let's move to the 35. We're just going to check around here. Plate, screen, cathode, nothing. Let's move to the 24A. Screen, I'm sorry, plate, screen, cathode is good. Let's move to the other 27 tube. Screen, dead, dead. So that entire 27 tube is doing nothing. And then we'll go to the final 35 tube. Screen, plate, screen, cathode. Okay. So we have a pretty good indication of where our problem is, honestly. Let me power this radio off. So let's recap what we have here. So we put an audio source here on the 47 output tubes. That works. We then took a signal generator and put it on the plate of this 27. It actually works and goes through the output transformer and out the radio. That works good. We also got something on this 24 tube, which is a 24A, and we got it on the cathode, which is right down here, and comes down to this 27 right here. We had 0 on here. Okay? So that tells me that our problem is either going to be right here in this area, which I suspect it's here somewhere because these connections go right up to the 27. So it's going to be somewhere in this area that I need to check right here. And then I probably have another problem back here. So I think I have 2 problems in this radio. Okay? So first thing we're going to do is we're going to check this section and see what's going on. So let me do that and we'll be back. Okay, I think I see the problem here. I think the problem is right here with this 0.5 and this 0.1 cap. Now if you recall, those 2 caps were in a metal sardine can, and the printing on the can was for a 0.5 and a 0.1, but the schematic has it shown as something different. And I think I see the problem here from a connection perspective, and I'll see if I can show it to you and learn as I go along here. So so you'll see right here that when we get to this 47 tube, I'm sorry, to this 27 tube, we know that we have a signal right here that we go out. But the problem is this coil right here. All right, this is what connects to the screen, and I should be getting a signal through this coil, and that should be coming from the plate of this 35. But I'm not getting anything, so something is wrong in this connection here. Now you'll see here that there's I think it's 150K resistor right here that attaches to one end of the coil, and then there's a 0.25 cap that goes to the cathode of the 27. And if you recall, I did have audio there. So the problem has to be on this side right here. So I'm going to check this connection. I did check the coil, and I'll show you what it looks like in a moment. And I'm going to check all these connections here and see if everything is working in this place. I'm probably just going to remove these caps and start over and make sure that I put them in the right places. If they're not, I don't really know. So that's going to be what we do here. And this is the coil I'm talking about, just for reference. This coil right here. So it's about 100 and something ohms. There's two pieces to it. There's 100 and something ohms and like 80 something ohms. So that's the coil that we're referring to. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and remove these caps and get that going. I'm going to end the episode here because it's quite long, and I'll come back in the next episode and show you what I've gotten from here. Okay? So what we've learned is by putting that dropping resistor in, we get our voltages where we need to go. We learned that from an audio perspective, the output tubes are working. And we've learned from a signal perspective that we're getting to the last 27 tube, which I believe is the second detector. So the second detector is getting RF audio, up to the plate, and then sending it out to the transformer, the output transformer. So now we're going to work our way back, so we've narrowed the field. Okay? I will come back in the next episode, and we'll see where we got.